Good morning. Allow me to introduce to you Million Leaders Mandate, sponsored by the US-based ministry EQUIP. It is the vision of an American leadership specialist, John Maxwell, the founder of EQUIP, which cheers at setting up 1 million new Christian leaders with basic leadership skills across the world so that they can help change their countries in a fundamental way. The goal is currently being fulfilled step by step under the concrete development plan laid down by John Maxwell. The program has been introduced in Asia and the Middle East. Life Ministries' aim is to raise 44,000 life leaders to be deployed in the 44,000 barangays nationwide. As one of the accredited trainers of EQUIP, together with our life leaders, we shall be the catalysts of change, and together we shall make a difference.
We will start with Million Leaders Mandate Notebook 1, and we will start with Lesson 1 entitled God's Call for Us to Lead. Sabi rito, we were born to lead. Tayo pinanganak para maging leader. Why and how God calls us to lead? Being made in God's image means we were created to lead. Okay, maliwanag na maliwanag. Number 2, God gave humans authority over the whole earth. If God told us to rule, we must have the ability to do it. So, yung abilidad inherent na. Kasi, yun ang sabi ng Diyos na tayo ay pinanganak to lead. Si Moses, the 5 excuses Moses used to deny his calling. His first excuse, sabi nito, why should I go? According to Exodus chapter 3 verses 11 to 12. Balikan natin. When God told Moses to go to Pharaoh, Moses replies, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh, and that I should bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? So we might really be tempted to praise Moses' humility here and say something like, look, Moses was simply being humble. He realized that he didn't have the right mix of talents for that daunting task. That simply cannot be the case. Ang Diyos mismo ang tumawag kay Moises upang tuparin ang responsibilidad na naiatang sa kanya. Who knows best who ought to serve in what capacity than the one who made us? Notice, with God told Moses in response to this excuse, I will certainly be with you. You know that God was with Moses. He sent plagues upon the Egyptians through Moses. God provided the law to his people through Moses. God provided his people with water. God continually blessed Moses' ministry. God has made the same promise to us. Lo, I am with you always, even to the end of this age. Moses' excuse number 2. What if they don't understand me? According to Exodus chapter 3 verses 13 to 15. Moses says, God, suppose I go to the people and they say to me, which God sent you? Moses is asking this question with a polytheistic Egyptian background. The Egyptians had a plethora of gods. They had a sun god, a sea god, an earth god, and the like. Yan ang background ni Moses. Moses basically says here, if I go to the people and say, a God has sent me to you, they're going to say, which God? Daming palusot ni Moses, di ba? Moses is fearful that the people aren't going to understand who God is and what demands He has. Don't we make the same basic excuse at times? God, I can't talk to that one guy at work. He's an atheist. He doesn't believe in you. And if I say anything about you, he'll think I'm nuts. Sounds familiar. God, I can't talk to that new guy at work. He's a Muslim and he believes in a vastly different God than I do. Daming excuse. God, that guy over there is a member of a denomination that thinks you still speak to man directly today. There's no way I can talk to him. Grabe sa excuse. Notice what God says in response. I am who I am. Thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. That name, I am who I am, is the name by which we are to proclaim God today. This is the God who is different from the atheist God, for this God exists and is eternal. This is the God who is different than the Muslim Allah, for this God is not a conglomeration of false concepts of God by heretical Christians that Muhammad encountered as is Allah. Moses excuse number 3. What if they don't believe me? Exodus 4:1. Imagine someone in Moses' shoes. You go to work tomorrow morning and a co-worker comes up and says, God appeared to me last night and told me everything we need to do. Are you going to believe that person? Or are you going to call the mental ward to see if you can have him committed for a few days? If we want people to believe what we say, we need to make sure that what we say comes from the scripture and that we can point people to scripture as our source. Moses excuse number 4. What if they can't understand me? Can be found in Exodus chapter 4 verses 10 to 11. Moses said to God, O my Lord, I am not eloquent, neither before nor since you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. So mabagal daw magsalita at pabulol-bulol pa. Kayo ba ganon? Notice what God said to Moses. Who has made man's mouth? Or who makes the mute, the deaf, the seeing, or the blind? Have not I the Lord? Oh, maliwanag. Ang Diyos pala ang gumawa. So kung gusto niyang pagalingin ka magsalita, gagaling ka talaga. Pero kung iniisip mong bubulol-bulol ka, forever bulol ka. Do you get the trust of what God is telling Moses? Moses, I gave you your abilities. You go and use them. Moses excuse number 5. I do not want to fulfill my calling. Grabe no. Meron bang ganun? Ha? Ikaw ba nung tinawag? Sabi mo, Lord, ayokong ma-fulfill yung pagkatawag mo sa akin. Di ba nakakatawa yun? Moses' excuse this time was that he did not desire to fulfill his calling and lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Moses basically asked God if someone else could fulfill the calling that God had given to him. Exodus 4:13 tells us how Moses asked God to send someone else to fulfill Moses' calling. Dito ba sa grupo natin, meron ba nagsabi na padala nyo na lang yung iba, wag na ako, hindi ako pwede, busy ako. There are no good excuses for deny the calling that God has given to us. Maliwanag na maliwanag. Walang justifiable excuses. Kung tayo'y tinawag, dapat pangatawan natin ang pagkatawag ng Diyos sa atin. This is the global leadership crisis. Based on the graph, it shows that the converts are increasing in numbers. Yet the churches are slowly increasing. And here, based on the graph, there is a very slow in the number of leaders. Bakit kaya? Bakit kukunti yung mga leaders? Puro angas lang ba yung mga leaders? Pag totoong tawagan na, nagtatago, ang daming mga dahilan. Tama ba yun, Dr. Glenn? The period of the judges, chaos reigned because there was no precedent for authority or accountability. Nagkagulo, di ba, nung panahon ng mga judges. Aggressive enemies surrounded them since the Jews first occupied Canaan. There were no government funds for national defense or to enforce public safety. Gulo-gulo na, wala pang pondo. Other nations influenced Israel with their idols and superstitions. Ang dami nang naniwala sa idols tsaka superstitions. Ngayon, ang daming mga bugok naniniwala sa hypergrace at dispensationalism. Tapos pinipilit tama yung kakultong kaisipan nila. Ay, Diyos me. Heroes like Moses and Joshua were dead, and there was no expectation of order. Nagkagulo-gulo nung mamatay na si Moses at si Joshua. In short, walang success, walang systematic succession. Momentum and morale were low, so growth was not easy. Talagang magulo. The basics of effective leaders. 1. They perceive a need. When leadership is pure, it always starts with a need. May pangangailangan. Ngayon, alam natin yung mga pangangailangan. Kailangan natin ng 44,000 leaders para ma-deploy sa lahat ng barangay sa Pilipinas nationwide. At kung hindi tayo magsisimula ngayon, kailan pa? That need sparks passion within a person. Okay? Hindi lamang sa akin yung passion. Nasa ating lahat yan. That person acts in response to the need. So merong nagpapasimula. Ito yung catalysts for change. And together, we can make a difference. This action moves others to cooperate. Dito makikita yung talagang tutulong. Hindi yung puro paangas-angas lang. Hindi naman pala tumutulong. Number 2, they possess a gift. Okay? So, kanya-kanyang gift po yan. When leadership is pure, persons find a gift inside of them. Hindi pwedeng wala. They groom and develop that gift. So, yung Life Discipleship Group is a ground for grooming and developing those gifts that we have. They eventually match that gift with a place of service. So, I'm sure lahat naman tayo tinawag. Wala naman siguro rito na tinulak. The gift provides a platform for influence. Kanya-kanyang area, kanya-kanyang influence. They eventually flourish because of their gifts. Number 3, they parade a passion. Passion comes when a leader has complementary. Meron siyang burdens, your interests and concerns. Meron siyang convictions, your values, principles, and beliefs. Meron siyang gifts, tulad ng nabanggit ko, your God-given abilities. Merong needs, your desperate circumstances. And there are opportunities, your occasion to get involved. Number 4, they persuade people. Proven practices for getting things done. Number 1, what gets talked about gets done. Pag pinag-usapan, hindi pwedeng ipagpaliban. Dapat may action agad. Hindi puro bukas. Ano yan? Analysis. Bottom line, paralysis. Hindi pwede yun. What gets trained for gets done. Kaya meron tayong training. Pag naman, hingi kayo ng training. Sabi nyo, lunurin kayo sa training. Ngayong lunod na kayo. Ayaw nyo nang gumalaw. Tama ba yun? What gets measured gets done. Kayo rin naman ang mananagot pagdating ng araw. Ang tatanungin sa iyo, what have you done in my name? Pag wala, wala, bokya. What gets budgeted gets done. Ayan, malapit nang dumating ang mga pagpapala at yung budget hindi na magiging problema. What gets confronted gets done. Ito yun. Haharapin natin yung challenges at alam natin, kayang-kaya natin pag tayo ay sama-sama. What gets rewarded gets done. Hindi lamang dito ang reward, sa langit pa rin may reward. 5, they pursue a purpose. May dahilan. In Judges, their purpose was personal. It fits their gifts and passions. Measurable, it involved activity that could be evaluated. So, kumbaga sa goal setting, nakasulat. Memorable, it was specific enough to be remembered and embraced. Meaningful, it surrounded national issues that made a difference. Ibig sabihin, target ka na rin lang. Hindi lakihan mo na, hindi yung papetiks-petiks lang. Number 5, mobile. It could travel with them wherever they found themselves. And number 6, moral. It was right. They felt it not only could be done, but should be done. Yan ang kailangan natin. Dapat, kailangan magawa. Hindi puro dak-dak. Gagamitin natin yung nguso para matuloy yung pag-accomplish ng ating goal. Hindi puro nguso. Dapat isa puso. Next week, ang pag-aaralan naman natin ay Lesson 2, where the title is The Heart of a Leader. So, magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Sana may transfer natin sa iba ang na-share ko sa inyo. Salamat po.